Hello out there, everybody in video land. Just let me get my radio guys going here. Okay, the radio guys are going to be going in a second. Once I get them going, we're ready to go. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Of course, in the studios of 4680Q Radio. Hello out there. Don't forget, for my viewers, you got to subscribe because we have somebody special in here, Chris Regas. And if you know Chris, he knows region, he knows politics. He's one of the guys I always discuss everything with on the internet, on Facebook. That always chiming in, knows what he's talking about, and a good guy to have in the studio every once in a while to straighten everybody out along with me. And oh gosh, we're going to talk about taxes, tariffs, you name it. We're talking about it. If we don't faint, it's so hot in here, but it was cold outside. So yeah. So anyway, Chris, thank you for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you in here.
It's always fun to be in here.
Okay. And we have to hit the sponsors.
Yes.
And if I didn't mention, I'm Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice. I don't know. Sometimes I mention that. Sometimes I don't. I figure by now, my ugly mug, they know who I am. They know what the name of the show is, but we should mention it. And especially on 4680Q Radio. So my sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, Hamel Machine Company. Look at this beautiful sunny day out here. What a great day to take your car into Ken Hunter at Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Have them check your car over, make sure everything's all right. We get another 3 weeks of winter. That's it. March 1st to me is summer. Am I being a little bit optimistic?
I think a little bit optimistic this year, Paul. I think this one's going to drag out a little bit.
Well,
that's just my prediction. But.
Yeah, well, the rodent said it was. He said 6 more weeks of winter.
Well, I don't know. Some people think I'm a rodent, so I'll contradict that one, and I'll say we probably won't see some nice weather until like March 20th.
Right? Okay, there you go. You're 6 weeks. You're the 6 weeks with the rodents. So anyway. You got to get your car into Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. He's going to check it out. Make sure for the next 6 weeks your car is going to be running beautiful. It's not going to break down. He's going to check all your systems, check your brakes, check your suspension, check everything, so you don't break down when it's a crappy day out there. That's the last thing you want to do. You want to be proactive, not reactive, right? Proactive, not reactive. And like Canada is a lot of times. So you want to be proactive. Let's get going. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop on Oakwood Drive, down by the Kia dealership. Can't miss it. Ken's going to take care of you. Full body shop. If you get in a wreck, he'll send your car back to you in showroom condition. Everybody's going to be happy. Support our sponsors because they support the show. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for tuning in. Subscribe, hit the notification, do all that jazz. We're at 101 subscribers now.
Awesome.
Yeah, we hit the century mark a couple days ago. And, share the video. Let's get more. Let's get 500 and march down to City Hall for next election and get out and vote. Okay, so speaking of elections, we have one coming up here, Chris.
Yep.
And I know you're a big PP supporter, Pierre Poilievre.
Yes.
And I also like the guy, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, I'm having a real big problem with the candidate that they appointed for Niagara.
So that's provincial you're talking.
Yeah, provincial.
Yeah, that's not.
Oh yeah, that's Ford. That's right.
Ford.
But I still like PP.
Yeah,
and I still like Tony Baldinelli. So I'm all right there.
Yes, you're good there.
I'm all right with the feds.
Yeah,
so far. But it's the provincial one I'm worried about on February 27th.
Yeah,
and I don't like the candidate there, and I would probably vote for Ford. The candidate here, to me, is the Kamala Harris of the area, because nobody nominated her. She didn't go through a nomination, never got a vote to be the leader. They just appointed her.
Yeah.
And you remember what happened to Kamala Harris?
Yeah, I do remember that. Well, there's a little bit of a difference though.
Okay, hey, let's hear it. I need motivation to make that vote.
So first of all, it was a late election. I mean, it was a very short election call. It was not a lot of notice. So there's really not enough time to do candidate searches and all this stuff. To put stuff together.
So they picked the worst one they could find?
No.
Okay.
Ruth Ann is good. I disagree with her on a couple of her things on city council, but so what? There's things that I agree with her on 100%. So, and you have to weigh what you agree with and disagree. You're never going to agree with anybody 100%.
Right.
But the Cheeto Bandito there,
Frito Bandito,
Cheeto Bandito. I don't know. I just call him Cheeto. He's orange.
So that's
like his orange.
Bandito.
His mustache is orange. His freaking hair is the Cheeto Bandito.
I like that. I like that.
So I really don't like that guy. I wouldn't vote for him. I mean, geez, I would. I think I'd leave Niagara before I ever voted there for him. But
yeah, I'm with you on that.
But so like, do you want? It's a matter of this. Okay, so I understand it. You may have an issue with Ford and some of the things he's done. You may have an issue with Ruth Ann and some of the things she's done. But let's not let our memories be too short. The Liberals in the past were absolute disasters.
Yep.
Absolute disasters. Put this province into a downward spiral that we were lucky we kind of came out of. Although things, but not through the fault of the provincial government. I think more because of the federal government lately have still been kind of, it's, in spite of the negative climate that the feds have created, Ford's managed to keep things kind of together. I have some issues with him on some things. I think he's not conservative enough in some areas. I think he could be a little bit more conservative, like a little bit more along my lines of thinking. But I understand that he needs to get votes to win an election. But Ruth Ann, look, she's a great person. I like Ruth Ann a lot. I've disagreed with a couple of her decisions or votes on council. Not necessarily her decision, because there's a decision of the whole council. But she did vote yes on a couple of things that bothered me a little bit. I wish she hadn't. That's fine. But the Cheeto Bandito there, I mean, that guy, he's never done anything, and he's not an advocate of anything that I'm in favor of. So why would I ever consider voting for him or the Liberal candidate? I don't even know who the Liberal candidate is. I think they just named one a couple of days ago.
I haven't seen the name yet.
Yeah, I don't know. So the strategy of the Liberal NDP, they're all one party. It doesn't matter if they're separate parties. They're all one now. They're off their rockers, but they have a strategy where they don't ever really name a viable candidate in Niagara, and they just kind of throw it to Wayne because they know he's going to win anyways, right? But they don't want to diminish any of his votes just in case. You know what I mean? That's the way it goes here. So we've always got the Conservatives on a provincial level always have a uphill battle here. It's just a tough riding to win, and it's not because we don't put decent candidates in. We've had a couple decent candidates.
Bob Gale.
Bob Gale was a decent candidate. Chuck wasn't a bad candidate.
Yeah, we
had Bart Maves. Bart's a great person to have run.
They couldn't convince one of these guys to go instead of getting Ruth Ann new estate.
So, Ruth Ann expressed
Bob
interest.
Won't,
yeah,
but
Ruth Ann expressed interest. Bob went through it. He didn't get the votes. I think that I don't think he would want to. Be interested.
Why didn't you express interest? I could vote for you.
I'm not in that part of my. I've got other things going on. I can't give them up. That's the
true.
thing, right?
That's true.
And I don't necessarily know that I want to do that. So it's fine. I think Ruth Ann's going to be if she gets elected, and hopefully she can ride the wave of popularity that Doug has. And she can get elected here. I think she'll do good for Niagara. I don't think that she'll be a bad rep. I think that, and if we have a rep, let's just put it this way. If we have a rep, I mean, okay, so there's a difference between, and I get it. Our mayor has an open door or open phone line, direct phone line with Doug.
Doug called him the real MPP of Niagara.
Well, he called him that because we don't have a conservative MPP, right? But there's a difference between having that phone or that open door as opposed to actually being in the room, right? So Ruth Ann can actually be in the room.
She gonna understand what's going on?
Oh, she will. She's a sharp lady. She just, I think that, with a couple of her decisions, she just decided to vote with the rest of council rather than take a different approach. But that's fine. Look. sometimes, even amongst counselors, you need to. It's like, you can help me vote this way. I'll help you vote on the next one. You got to work with each other that way too, right? So that happens in councils all over the place. It happens in the ward system more often than not, right? And it happens in things. That's why Niagara is more benefited from a at-large system, I believe,
than a ward system.
Just because you'll have too much back scratching going on, and it's actually inefficient and ineffective.
Well, right? It concerns me that they said that Ruth Ann is not going to do any kind of press conferences or anything until after the election. To me, that means she don't know a lot.
Well, no, it doesn't really mean. So look, conservatives always get the bum end of the stick with the media anyways. Doesn't matter which one. So they're ready to attack her on any little thing that she can do. And she's only got basically 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks away, the election, right? So 2.5, whatever. So she's got to be out there hitting doors and doing all that stuff. I have never seen Wayne Gates get a real press conference or have any real questions thrown at him.
Well, he was on a show on this station, 4680Q, last week.
Oh, he was. I missed that.
Completely. Well, you didn't miss anything because it was all softball questions.
Oh, I see. Who was interviewing?
Well, the two, they have a show here. It's on the back of that door. I can't remember the name of it, but Noel Sinclair.
Oh, yeah. Well, sure. Let's throw a couple of dippers in there.
Two Trump haters.
Yeah. Well, it's not just Trump haters. It's just that it's conservative haters. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Trump haters. That's conservative.
What's her name? Jennerette.
I don't know who that one is. I don't know.
Yeah, Judy Jenner. No, what the hell? I don't know. I met him once anyway. But yeah, they call Trump the what do they call him? Something the Southern psychopath. I think he's more of a sociopath than a psychopath. If anything, but that's what they were calling him on the show. And of course, Wayne Gates is in here, and it was like, oh, Wayne Gates is in.
Oh well, whatever. I mean, we should let Wayne. Why don't you invite Wayne on here and let's question him on some of what he thinks? Like,
I'd have to get somebody else in because I don't really want him on my show. To be totally honest, I don't want any of these politicians on because they have nothing to tell me. Let's see what you do.
Yeah,
you can come here and give me all the baloney you want, but we've seen what Wayne Gates has done. He's taking credit for everything he didn't do and hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, his backers will tell you all the great things he's done. He stood by the falls, and
I see. Yeah, well, he's been to a lot of protests. That's what he's been to. He takes pictures at everyone he goes to, and it makes it look like he's doing something. Shows up, and that's what it is. It's a social media. He's got a social media office. Is what he's got. That's basically what he is.
Yeah, and also he's like just. I mean, the only thing he can say he has. His experience, because he's good. He's been there, 8 years?
But he's got experience doing nothing.
Yeah, well, that's it.
He's been there since 2013, I think.
Wow.
Was the by-election.
He's got the big pension.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't got the big pension at the provincial level, because you know who got rid of that?
Good.
Was Mike Harris and Bart Maves. So Bart Maves, the first thing they did when he got in office, elected as a young MPP, was got rid of his own golden pension.
He pulled the DOGE.
Okay? So that's the difference between conservatives and the rest of them. Now, conservatives get rid of their pensions.
Yeah, now we have Celia Taylor running for the Green.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
I have no idea.
But, I mean,
I have no idea.
It's like global warming out there, Paul. It's a crisis out there. It's a crisis.
Charge us more for our EVs.
I want one person. Mark Carney, any of these Greens, Elizabeth, what's her name? What was that, the one we have there? What's the
Merritt Stiles, the NDP leader?
Was it the NDP? The Green Shriner. Is that it? I can't remember. What was the other one? Who was the other one before her?
That was that May, Elizabeth May.
Elizabeth May, yeah, that one. I would like any of these so-called climate crisis warriors here to tell me just exactly what is the optimum carbon level in the atmosphere that we should be at. I want them to tell me what it is, because I know anything under like 230 parts per million, everything dies.
Everything dies.
Everything dies. So right now we're at about 450 I think if you look it up, we're at 450, 460 parts per million. So I want just one of them to tell me what the optimal, I'm not talking about just, what is the optimal carbon rate? And I want to see if anyone can answer it.
Well, they can. They have no clue. They
just tell me what
much.
That is. No, but they want to tax us based on it.
They want to tax us
right? Let's reduce it. Reduce it to what? What exactly do we want to reduce it to? Let's put the target there. What is it?
We're like at 1 point something now. I mean, we're really low now. We don't want it to go much lower.
Well, I mean, not just tax. I'm just saying the parts per million. No, we're at like 450 parts per million, which is not. I mean, so if everything dies at 230, okay, and you're at 450, it's not really. And we know historically it's been at like 1200.
Yeah, you don't want. Yeah,
1300.
Yeah. You don't want it to drop. You don't have much room there.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is the optimal rate? Let me know. I just want one person to tell me. You can message me on that.
Yeah, you can also tell me how long it's going to take with humans destroying everything for humanity to be wiped off the face of the earth because of it. Yeah. Please tell me. Al Gore said 10 years in 1980.
Yeah, it's polar ice caps are gone.
And Greta Thunberg, she said that how dare you? In 5 years, we're all going to be dead, and that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But she was 16.
Yeah,
she hasn't got any smarter at 26.
No, I don't know what she's doing now. She's been getting arrested and stuff.
She's probably a
whatever.
Multi-millionaire, billionaire.
Show up at protests,
you know. But back to Ruth Ann. We digress.
We digress.
But back to Ruth Ann. My concern with her is that she's been on city council. She's had 3 budgets come up and raised our taxes 18% over 3 times. And her big idea to save taxes, and I'm a conservative, I want less taxes, was to take $50,000 off the firefighters, the fire department, the biggest department worth running at $30 million. She wanted to take 50 grand. That was her solution to the budget. And I got to tell you something else. When she was in here before the last election, I asked her 2 main concerns. She said city staff and the budget. Mm-hmm. And so city staff has increased by 57 people over the last 2 years under her watch. And the budget has increased by 18% over the last 3 years under her watch. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is why I have a problem with her. Not to mention, she's a time waster, big time, at $1,600 an hour for a city council meeting. And I just don't think she's qualified. She's just not qualified. Now, I can get around that by your suggestion, saying that, okay, well, she's not really going to run anything. She's just going to be there. Jimmy runs it anyway. He talks to Ford. I can get around that because that's what he does when Gates is in power anyway, right? Anything needs to be done. Jimmy picks up the phone, speed dials. Doug Ford, hey, Doug, yeah, it's Jimmy. I mean, he's like, okay, Jimmy, don't worry about it here. Come on down here.
Well, let's put it this way. If you've got a team of Jimmy and Ruth Ann there, and Ruth Ann were to unseat Wayne, Ford would be really interested in investing into Niagara.
I have to agree
because he wants to maintain his seat, right? He'll want to keep that seat.
I agree.
So I just think that and like I said, I know Ruth Ann. She's a businesswoman actually, and she does understand cost and benefit, and she does. Sure. I've talked to her multiple times about it.
Yeah. What did she say?
Well, I can't recall the exact specifics, but she understands the ABCs of business, cost versus output, input, output, But at the end of the day,
the input has nothing to say about anything, and the output is $30,000.
Well, it could be, but I at the end of the day, like I said, you don't have to agree with every decision she makes. She's a bright lady. She can get stuff done. And the Cheeto Bandito there, he can't even get someone to call him back. So forget it. He's just gonna keep taking pictures.
That's the only possible way that I could get around putting a vote for a conservative right now in Niagara riding, is the thought that hold my breath in my nose that it's better to have somebody representing our party than it is to not have somebody representing our party. And oh man, why make it so tough on me? Why don't we just get somebody I like?
So who's qualified? Let me ask you this: who do you think would be qualified? There is no real qualification to run for MPP or MP or whatever it is. You have to be a dedicated individual.
Well, who I think should have ran, and I would love to see, is Jim Diodati.
Yeah, well, he's the mayor, right?
Yeah,
he's the mayor.
But man, he would be the best guy. Who's a bigger patriot in Niagara Falls, and he's a showman. He's a marketer.
So then, who should be mayor of Niagara Falls?
Well, then we leave it to John Ringo Beam or something.
No, because if Wayne Gates gets defeated, guess who wants to run for mayor?
Yeah, Wayne Gates.
Yeah.
Well, he might be better as a mayor though than as a.
I don't think so. Hey, how can you be better as a mayor when you're socialist?
I know we're screwed.
He's a communist. He's like, you know what I mean?
We're screwed.
Yeah, I mean the guy he's worse than Jagme.
So everybody out there, listen to this, because I know a lot of you are probably holding your nose and you don't want to make that vote, but Chris has got it right on. Who else is out there? I'm not voting Liberal and I'm not voting NDP. I can tell you that right now. Why would you do that? And we got Jody Burnett running as an independent. And I like Jody. He gets out there and he speaks his mind and has great ideas. But I mean, as an independent, I don't think he can beat the Conservatives or the NDP. Not in this city anyway. I don't think he's well known enough and all that other stuff because it's a popularity contest. So we're left with holding our nose. And like Chris said, coming up with a candidate that matches up with the party in power in Ontario. And we're matched with holding our that's our only option if you don't like Ruthann. If you like Ruthann, you're in heaven.
If you really here's the
bottom line.
Here's the thing. Okay, so if you're a conservative and you really have an issue with Ruthann being on city council, then vote for MPP. How's that?
Well, that's one bonus,
right?
Should we get her off for city council,
right? No, but I mean, if that's the issue, but if you have an issue with her, I really don't. There are councillors I have issues with for sure that I would never vote for. She's not one of them. Ruthann, I voted for the last two. It's been 2 elections with her. One,
2 years.
Yeah, I voted for her the last one for sure, and I would vote for her again. You know, it's not that I wouldn't give her a vote next time around. So because my disagreements with her aren't as severe as like I said, she voted for the budget twice and or 3 times. The first one though was kind of it's already done.
They're brand new.
You know, they're brand new at that time. It's already done. There's nothing really that they have to. Well, then they don't have to go for it, but you know, as an inexperienced counselor, maybe you're reluctant. But the following 2, I could take issue with the other 2 budgets. You know, for sure I can take issue with them. You know, but look, when you've got the whole staff telling you they need this money or this is going to happen, the sky's falling. They always tell you that the sky's falling.
Fear mongering.
Right? Yeah, and then you know, you got the mayor kind of saying, okay, we got to vote for this, and then you got a few other councillors saying, okay, come on, you got. So sometimes you go along, and the reason is because there may be other issues that you're trying to push that you need support with, and and if you don't support them on a big item like the budget, then you might not get the support when the time comes, and you know you're going to lose that budget fight anyways. So,
you're definitely going to lose,
right? So sometimes you throw a vote just to go along in order to get what you need in another, or to make a suggestion that gets further down the road. And you know, in that sense, yes, I can see how that happens. Now, do I agree with it? Not always, that's for sure. You know, I don't think there was anything significant enough to justify doing that. But you know, maybe Ruthann thought there was some important stuff that she needed to in order to be able to further her own opinions in some other areas, and that's fine. You know, me, I would be completely different because I don't care. Like, you know, I would have been up there yelling and screaming about any kind of tax increase because it's not necessary, and it isn't necessary. But it hasn't been necessary for the last 15 years here. And we've had tax increases for 15 years, and so you know, look, unless you are able to cohesively as a community oppose or tell these guys get out and vote, that's the only way you're going to really do it. At 30%, you're not going to change anything.
No,
right?
And and I think that's what happens, especially with newer council members. They go into the budget and they really can't see or understand changes that they should be making or could be making. So they go, I really couldn't see anything that was wrong with it. They're being honest.
Yep.
They looked through it maybe and they said, everything looks good to me. Yeah, we're da-da-da-da. Yeah, we do want to do this. We want to do that. And at the end of the day, they say, well, I can't find anything that I can really pull out of it and tackle. And then you get the penguin up there talking about cutting services, and nobody wants that.
There's an issue. Like, who are you going to go to on city staff?
Nobody.
And say, you know what? Can we go through this line by line? And can you tell me what's necessary and not necessary? What are they going to say? Because maybe their job is going to get cut.
Sure.
Right?
That's right.
So what are they going to say? They're not going to give you honest answers.
No, we did everything. We crunched every number.
So, ask council, but you need the support of the whole council to do this. And you got to say, you got to go back to those guys in the staff and say, listen, you're dealing with 10% less money this year.
That's it.
Make your cuts, do whatever. And listen, hey, we want to keep the pools and we want to do this and want to do that. Listen, let's get rid of the $250,000 or $25,000 concrete ping pong table. Okay, let's get rid of that one because it doesn't make any sense.
Get it out of here.
Okay, like there's that. That's one of them, right? And you can find a bunch of those, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we see what's going on in the States, but I'm sure you can find. There's a lot at any government level. You look at you can look on and you can find stuff that's completely unnecessary. Just throw it out the window.
Yeah, and that's what we need. We need a DOGE. We need a DOGE that actually goes through these things, And I had a bunch of stuff that we could throw away, and it wouldn't hurt anything. And especially when we have some departments that are really big and they can be cut. Like I think we can cut $1 million off the library, and I think we can cut $4 or $5 million off the firefighters if they really wanted to. But that's sacrosanct. So nobody will talk about that.
It's very hard. The firefighters union is very tough.
Across Ontario, the same complaint. We can't afford a fire department anymore. But somebody's going to have to take the horse and squeeze hard and say, oh no. But here's what my thing is: our budget went up this year by $8 million, right? And it's from development and that kind of thing. And so, why don't we start at 158 million? And we work from there. This is zero. How do we get to 158 million with the 8 million extra we have? No, what they did is they pumped it up to 165 million.
Yeah.
So not only do they have an extra 8, they're going to add another 7 million on top of it. And that's what bothers me. We shouldn't work budgets like that.
No, they shouldn't. It should always be 0% increase in you work for there.
That's where you start.
But the thing is, the asks. So I've gone through this before. Should always be 0. You should never have to raise taxes unless it's an emergency, just because of the system that we have. So we increase the mill rate. Yeah, and I think you have we capitalize capital projects. We put money in there. Sometimes we borrow it, whatever. But those things. So when we ask for those percentage increases when we capitalize things, those things expire. Like it's a mortgage on your house. Sooner or later, it's over, right? It's done. You're paid off. So when that money, that tax increase covered that one specific, I'm stumbling here, specific project,
it comes off.
It should come off. But you have that tax increase still built into your rate. So you should have extra money. You should. Right? Like
the hospital fund, 1.3 million. We didn't have to put it in there. But rather than giving it back to the taxpayers, Tiffany Clark, the finance director there, stands up and pulls it and puts it in some reserve fund.
Yeah.
And every year, remember, we don't have to pay that 1.3 million that we had to pay 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Exactly.
So we never see it.
Yeah, we had last 2 years, we had absolutely hardly any snow clearing. With snow budgets, we must have come in under budget last 2 years for sure. So we had a surplus there as a guarantee. Now, where did that extra money go? Where did the extra money from, like I said, all these expiring capital projects that have been built in? The casino money coming in, the this, the that. There's no reason for a city of 100,000 people that we should have a budget the size we have.
Let me ask you a question.
No reason.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Should we pass a bylaw that it's a bylaw that you cannot have anything other than a zero increased tax budget? They have to balance the budget by law every year according to the numbers say they have this year of 158 million. Now, in the case of an emergency, they can go to council and say, we need more. And the only way they can get more is if it's a unanimous vote on council to raise the limit, to raise the ceiling,
the mill rate. Yeah.
Like just like in the House. If they want more money for the to pay the bills, you got to go to the House and they got to vote it to up the cap. Yeah. And that's what we'd be doing. We start 150.
Then you get horse trading at that point, though, and then it's detrimental.
Is that too complicated?
It's a little complicated for a city, but at the end of the day, you can pass a thing. Look, we have market value assessments that come in every 4 years. They're supposed to come in every 4 years. Those automatically increase.
They're 8 years behind.
Yeah. So those come in. All right. You raise the mill rates, and all of a sudden you get an increase in your. So now your market value assessment increases are capped at 10%. But it's a natural rise, okay, in property taxes. There is no reason for you to raise the mill rate. There isn't. And we're getting casino money. So, and they say, oh, there's the warning. Oh, well, casino money could go away. No, it never goes away. And you want to know why? Because we have that deal with the province, okay, for to host a casino. As long as they're involved in gaming, we're going to have that. And when they're not involved in gaming, we're going to have 100 other freaking casinos pop up. Okay, because they'll privatize it. We'll have 100 other casinos pop up, and we'll get the tax money out of that. Okay, more hotels. More. Listen, Niagara Falls at one point, okay, in the mid 2000s, had one of the highest value of permit issuances across this country. Okay, we have billions of dollars of hotels here. That's what it amounts to. And they're paying property taxes. There's no reason why the rest of this city should have increases, and they're paying a lot of tax. Okay, they're paying tons. No other city has this. Has an issue that has that benefit. I'm saying, yeah, we need to take care of the tourist area. We need to keep the roads clean and whatever for the tourists that are here and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, the rest of the city isn't benefiting because they're blowing the money like crazy.
That's right.
Right? So the money, you guys they got to tighten up. It's not a free piggy bank. Can't go in there and keep pulling it out. You got this residents got to see some benefit to hosting this stuff. And nobody, I'll tell you right now, any of the guys, counselors or staff that are listening, no citizens are going to complain if their roads are paved, they're clean, their garbage is picked up, the city's clean, they got the services, and which is what we should have based on the revenues that come in here. Okay? That's what we should have. Now, the region sucks a lot of that out of here, too. They suck a lot of that.
They do.
They, with their increases are actually 10 times worse than the city of Niagara Falls. Like, so if you really want to focus, I'll tell you, we can talk about the city of Niagara Falls all we want, but if you don't crack down on the region needs DOGE. That's
they
it.
They do.
Like, they do. That's all.
Okay, hold that thought for a minute. I want to come back to the casino money. And but I got to get to my second sponsor, Victoria Avenue Pete's Pizza. You want a pizza? It's Friday night. It's midnight. You're watching the Fright Night Late Show, and you say, "I got to have something to eat." Where do you get your pizza from? Well, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. They're open till 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and they have a great pizza. They've been making pizza for 40 years with the Mancini family. The recipes for sauce, the recipes for crust. They make a great pizza. Mike, the owner, knows how to mix the mozzarella and brick cheese and put it right in the right ratio with the sauce to give you a fantastic pizza with fresh ingredients. And they don't stop there. They have fantastic wings. They have fantastic subs. They have panzerotti. They have steak and cheese poutine. They have regular poutine. They got a menu, 3 pages, fold out. You can't go wrong with Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And who doesn't like a great pizza? I use it to calm me down, Chris, during city council meetings. So rather than throwing a beer bottle at the TV, I throw a hunk of pizza. There's a little grease I can wipe off, but at least I don't break the thing, right? Pete's Pizza, Victoria Avenue, fantastic pizza. They'll get it to you hot and fresh. You can go to their website, pizzavictoria.ca, and order online, or call them up 905-374-2222, or they use Skip and all the other stuff as well. So grab yourself a fresh pizza. Support our sponsors because they support the show and they support the city. Thank you very much. Over to the casino money. And like I always cringe when I look at the ledger for the budget, because they have the entry in for the casino at $14 million. They know they're getting 20. They always underestimate it. And then, they like on a ledger, you have your expenses and you have your revenue. So if your revenue doesn't meet your expenses, you're in a deficit, and you got to hit the taxpayers up for the money.
Yeah.
So why are they underestimating the casino money by $6 million? $6 million would balance the budget this year. We wouldn't have to pay any more taxes. But they continually pull this trick on us, and nobody says anything. And then Tiffany Clark is like, oh, because they get canceled that casino thing in 30 days and blah, 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 and we're never sure. Baloney. You know what? If the province cancels our casino money with 2 casinos, you know what we do? We go and say, okay, the MAT is $20 a room from now on, because we can raise it anything we want with a bylaw.
Yeah.
And what do? We get all our money back. Amazing how easy it is. Don't fearmonger people who know how to read this crap. It makes me mad to no end. Estimate it right. Okay, you don't want to go 20 million. You want to leave a $2 million cushion. Estimate it at 18 million. That's every million is a point off the thing. So we'd have a 0.9% increase this year. I think a lot of people could swallow that.
Swallow a 0.9 increase, but I be honest with you, it's 0%.
It should be zero.
There's no reason to have any increase.
But lots of money.
At the end of the day, though, Paul, like I said, until there's a will there, you're not going to get any change. They pull those tricks. It's not just our municipal staff. They've learned this trick all across the province in every level of government. Is how to pull the wool over people's eyes and hide money so that they have, and they always cry and poor. It is. It's accounting trick.
And I'll tell you, November 27th we passed the capital budget, right? $50 million or something like that. February 4th at the meeting, they made an amendment to the capital budget for $1.25 million. So hold it. You passed 50 million, and now you're adding 1.25 million onto it. And last year they added 10 million onto it. So if you're taxing us because you don't have the money, where the hell's this money coming from?
Well, that's a curiosity for sure. It's a curiosity.
We need
for
people
sure.
to ask these questions. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, you do, but how do you? The point is that we should have maybe the city council needs to have and they're not going to do it. The region got rid of their audit committee back. The first act of the new council back in 2018 at the region was to get rid of the audit committee at the region, rather the audit department. So it's gone.
Well, I'm going to make you a promise.
Yeah.
If I'm ever elected mayor,
yeah,
I'm going to get you in right away to be the Elon Musk of Niagara Falls. Okay. You're going to be my DOGE.
No problem.
We're going to go in and clean
I'd have to move out of Niagara Falls to do it, though. Maybe get some security.
we're going in to clean house. So, but anyway, that's just okay. Let's get out of that thing, because we can talk all day about the budget. But I want to talk about these tariffs because people's heads are blowing up in Canada. They're yelling and screaming and going crazy and everything. And I'm sitting there going, relax. He's not going to put 8 tariffs on. Why don't these people understand Trump? They call him Cheeto Man. They call him Orange Man bad. They call him the Southern psychopath. Why don't they understand Trump? He's a businessman. It's the art of the deal. He just wants Canada to straighten out their border. And I'll tell you about a discussion I had this morning, because people just don't get it. What's your take on this tariff stuff and Trump?
So I'll say this. I think that the border has very little to do with it. I think he's using it as an excuse, which is fine. We do have some issues with our border. I think our external ports is what he's really more concerned about. is how we have a lack of inspection of stuff coming into the country through our major ports, which would be Vancouver and out east Halifax or Montreal and those issues. And we do have an issue. We have a major issue there. The other issue is fentanyl going over his border because of our lacks, the precursor chemicals coming in through Canada and manufacturing here. Now, you hear a lot of people saying, well, it's only this much and it's only that much. Well, the problem is it's gone up 300% the seizures going over the border. So inspections at the Canadian border aren't as intense as the things that happen at the southern border. So we don't actually know how much is going across and back and forth.
Probably 1% gets caught.
Right.
99% gets over.
So in the States, they're more apt to find it because they're coming. There's more contact over there with illegal smugglers, right? So there's an issue there, and that's a 300% increase. What they've seized is a 300% increase over what was the thing. Now people say, "Oh, it's only 5 kilograms. You can fit it in a suitcase." Except for that 5 kilograms, okay, you only need 2 milligrams to kill somebody.
Yeah, so it will wipe out all of Canada.
So yeah, fentanyl deaths in Canada have increased like crazy. So I get upset at people who say, "Well, it's only this much." No, it's killing your own people. And if you extrapolate our fentanyl deaths to the U.S. population, so if we're 10 times smaller, right? We're 9 times smaller than the U.S. If you multiplied our fentanyl deaths by 9 times, you'd be at about 60,000 people a year dying.
Yeah.
Okay. And it sickens me when I hear people, say, "Oh, it's only 5 kilograms. We don't need to worry about it. Like, it's not that big of a deal." It is a huge deal. It is a huge deal. It is a huge deal for us Canadians. So let's stop the baloney of the it's not about. that it's not a big deal. It is a big deal, but the tariffs that he wanted to impose are twofold. There's 2 reasons. Okay, he wants cooperation from Canada on a couple other issues. Okay, they really have an issue with us about our dairy. Okay? Dairy is a huge thing for them, especially in the state of Wisconsin, which happens to be a swing state. Very important. Farmers there that produce a lot of milk and whatever. Now we can say, we want to protect our industry, the supply management system. I get it, domestic supply. But at the end of the day, trade is trade. And if you're tariffing, if you have access to your neighbor's markets and he doesn't have access to yours, that's not fair trade. It's not free trade either. Nope. So if he can only export 10% of your domestic consumption to your country, then he's got a problem with that if you're allowed to export whatever you want into his country. And I'll tell you how it works in Canada. So our supply management controls that we stop at 90%, right? We get 90% domestic supply. So, but our producers produce far more than what we need. So what do they do with the excess milk? Well, during COVID, they had to dump it because there was no trade going on. But what happens is they had to dump it in ditches and whatever. What happens now is that they dump it on the international market at less than the cost of production. So it's not just the U.S. that's upset with us. We have complaints filed against our dairy practices from New Zealand, Australia, and the U.S. And because Canadian farmers are dumping their milk, their excess milk, on the international market, and it drives down the price internationally. So there's an issue there. Like, we can say, "Oh, poor us," but we kind of take advantage of certain things that we shouldn't be doing. Okay. And it's the same with the softwood lumber. The issue with lumber is that our lumber guys, they get government leases on land. They pay almost nothing, right, to harvest these trees. All they have to do is replant and manage the forest for the government. And they get to basically American lumber companies, they don't get that benefit, right? They have to pay for the land, they have to lease it, they have to do whatever, so they're not cutting down trees on that are owned by the U.S. National Forestry Service, but Canadian lumber companies
are. Yeah.
Right. So they get the land leases. So they're able to sell lumber at a far more economical price, especially with a dollar difference.
Right.
Than the American counterpart. So there's a trade issue there. And it's something that we've had problems with the Americans on softwood lumber for 30 years. Yeah, 40 years.
Oh,
it's been an issue like for a long time. So this is nothing new. And then there's issue of the North. So the U.S. really wants us to engage in the Arctic, but we're not investing enough money. We're not spending enough money on defense, on kind of coming to an issue. That's part of his reason with Greenland, coming to a kind of an understanding with them on how to do things and whatever. We're not really very active there. So they want to spur us on with that kind of thing. And I think this Greenland talk was part of that, right? I had an interesting comment. I saw one interesting comment from someone on Facebook. It says, why don't we sell them Ellesmere Island for like $3 trillion instead of having them take Greenland? Because there's only like 144 military people there and a bunch of seals and polar bears and stuff. And let them have Ellesmere Island for like $3 trillion. And then we can pay off our national debt plus all provincial debt, and our dollar would be so strong we could just buy out the states after.
Who said that?
Oh, it was a friend of mine.
Because Trump has never offered to buy anything.
No, he hasn't. But if you make the proposal, maybe he'll say okay, right? Well, he wants to buy Greenland, so
I think he's just going to take it over.
Well, I don't think so. It's not going to happen. But anyways, so
sell for $24 worth of trinkets like Manhattan.
Yeah, this isn't all Trump's idea. He's got advisors who are telling him what needs to be, and he's got his own approach of how to handle that.
Yes.
So it's true. It's not all him. I mean, there's economists and there's guys there's trade guys, and there's looking at deals and how they can do. Look, the Americans have been put in the last 4 years into a pretty nasty financial position. The only way out of it for them is expansionism, and they're going to expand it through trade. They want to do it through trade. They don't want to take over anybody. I'm of the opinion, personally, if you really want to avoid any further disputes with the U.S. about trade or all this tariff talk or whatever, why don't we enter into a European style agreement with the U.S. Common currency. We maintain we're Canada, they're the U.S. We maintain our own passports, but we also have a common U.S. Canadian travel card.
Yeah.
Right. That lets Canadians own property, work, live wherever they want in the U.S., come back and forth. Americans can do the same here. We can buy businesses. They boom, 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 back and forth the way the Europeans do it. In the European, you have a European passport on top of your national passport in Europe, and you can travel anywhere in Europe to work. Like you're a guy who wants to work in a factory in Germany. You're from Italy or Greece, whatever. You can just go to Germany. They hire you, and you can go. And it's the same vice versa, right? The Germans can come there. They want to, a guy who wants to be a waiter on a Greek island for summer. Whatever. He can come and work, and it's no problem.
They're all tied together with the euro.
Yeah, and it's all tied together with a common currency.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay? So let's adopt the American dollars, drop the Canadian, right? Adopt the American dollar. You have to fix the exchange rate, and hopefully we do it at a time that it's a little bit more advantageous to us, because right now it's in the toilet. But if the world got wind of something like that, the Canadian dollar would rise very quickly to almost parity. Yeah. So maybe we'd be 10% less. But you could exchange your Canadian dollars for American dollars, and then you can go and spend them and work wherever you want. Why can't we negotiate a deal like that? We don't have to worry about then we don't have to worry about taxes, tariffs, or restrictions or exchange or any of that stuff. And I think in that situation, I think Canada and Canadians would benefit greatly, because we'd have unfettered access. And I think like our population, there's jobs available in the U.S. that aren't available in Canada. I think that we would feel like we've got the talent to fill some of those positions, and it would benefit the Canada or Canadians as a whole, as a country, and we wouldn't have to worry about the auto industry. All we have to do is compete after that. So we could, as Ontario, because we have a surplus of energy, we could finally say, hey, American companies, here is some really low power energy costs. Come put your factory here, So, and we could actually compete on a better level to get this. Because, so you saw what happened in Welland. Now this company they mothballed their plans there. They're going to lease out their factory. I think that had something to do with all this tariff talk.
Probably.
Right? And I'm thinking that down the road, like there's investment opportunities into Canada, but they're reluctant because there's this tariff stuff. So why don't we negotiate? Why don't we be smart? Let's be smart. Let's not, I hate the retaliatory stuff, the rah-rah, just boom, bah. Okay, let's be smart about it. We can be Canadians. That's great. Let's be strong. We're not going to let them run over us. But at the end of the day, doesn't it make sense? They're the largest economy in the world. They're the largest military in the world.
They're our biggest trading partner.
As much as you say you want to diversify, we already have free trade agreements with the Asian Pacific countries, the Pacific Rim countries. The CTPP, whatever. I think that's the CPT, whatever it is. Anyways, trade agreement, and then we've got a half-done free trade agreement with Europe already. 10 countries haven't ratified it yet. And I don't think they're going to be honest with you. But we have that there. We've already tried to diversify. Like there's not much else. And everybody's like, oh, we can sell the BRICS. No, you're not going to sell. Who are you going to sell oil to? The Brazilians? They got a ton of oil. You're going to sell it to the Russians? They got a ton of oil.
The Arabs.
Who are you going to? Yeah, exactly. Who are you going to sell your oil to? So, you can diversify. So we got natural gas. Yeah, we can sell natural gas, but you're not going to sell it to Germany asked us, right? And we said no. The Japanese asked us. We said no. So, I mean, you want to do that. That's fine, but that's natural gas and whatever. We have lumber. Where are you going to sell it to? Like all these other countries already have these resources. There's not much else you can diversify. You can, even if you did diversify, what would you knock it down from? You knock it down. So 77% of our exports right now go to the US. So you'd knock it down to 65% maybe. They're still your largest customer. If they decided to put tariffs on your stuff, it would still kill your economy. So let's be smart about it. Let's do more business instead of less. Right. Let's just get in there and make it so that they need us. There's no way for them to get out of it.
Yeah, right? Drop the TDS, because that's a lot of it. What it has to do with drop the TDS and let's make a deal.
I think we can make the best deal. We can just say, listen, we'll drop the Canadian dollar, adopt the American dollar. We'll maintain our borders with it, but let's go complete free trade. The complete. Now, you got a problem with dairy and the way the Americans do the dairy? Okay, so you got Robert F. Kennedy in there right now. Have him ban the BGH and RBST in American milk. Okay, and then you have no problem with the milk.
No.
And he would be the first guy who'd want to do that, right? So you have an opportunity here to solve a huge issue, a dairy issue, right? And same with the other stuff, the poultry or whatever. You can harmonize your practices. And Robert F. Kennedy right now would agree more with what Canadian standards are than current American standards.
Oh, definitely he would,
right?
Because we're a little bit tougher.
We are stuff. We're more like the Europeans in that way.
Even food dyes, red dye number 2 and stuff like that. That's not allowed here. Yeah, he would love to get rid of that stuff.
So let's do it. I mean, I don't understand why we're so stuck on this idea that we're going to be, like I said, we're married to them for better or for worse. They're right below us, and it's 350 million people and a $30 trillion economy. Like
they're not going anywhere.
No, BRICS is
not going anywhere.
Put this in perspective. Okay, that's one country. That's the U.S. 350 million people, $30 trillion economy. BRICS is 60% of the world's population. Okay, the BRICS nations, 22 countries, 60% of the world's population. Their total economy, GDP, between all the 22 countries is 65 trillion. It's just above double what the U.S. is. Okay, now, and you're talking about almost 4 billion people.
Yeah, compared to 345 million,
or more than 4 billion. Actually, it's more than 4 billion people. It's like almost 5 billion people. Okay, in BRICS. So just to put the power of the American economy in perspective, and you think you're going to do what? You can't. Let's just listen. the smart play here is for Canadians to play it smart and make a great deal for us. Never mind the U.S. It wouldn't be a great deal for the U.S. because they're only getting access to 40 million people. Unfettered access to 40 million. We're getting unfettered access to 350 million. Right? I think we're smarter, anyways. I think we can. I think we do very well in that situation. Like, let's be smart here, guys. Let's stop the TDS. It's not about Trump. It's not about Trump. It's about the well-being of both countries over the long term. Trump's gone in 4 years. They're gonna want to make a good deal for the next 100 years. Do that
now.
Yeah,
right now. Well, Trump's there because he is the guy who likes to make a deal.
That's it.
He likes to make a deal. I got to get to my third sponsor, but I just want to say one thing about this border thing and these drugs and everything, right? Because you were mentioning that. I had a discussion. I said to the person, they're going, well, the U.S. lets them in. It's not our problem. If they can't keep control of their borders, then that's too bad. And I'm going, hold it now. Now they're going to shore up their borders. We've seen what they're doing at the southern border. They're going to do the same in the north. So what that means is all the terrorists and illegals that are going into the States now will be staying in Canada.
It's true.
Right? So is that what you really want? Or should we be going to the ports, like Chris said, and stopping them from coming into Canada in the first place? Then they won't be going to the southern border and trying to get over. Because we have a long, undefended border that's wide open. Anybody can go through it.
One quick fact there, Paul. 79% of all American arrests on terrorism were people who came through the Canadian border into the US.
There you go. There's a great stat. There's a great stat. So let's control our own ports. Don't let these people in. Ship the ones in Canada out that are here illegally, like the 1.2 million that are here on visas that expired. We don't know where they are. 50,000 students who came in on student visas and never showed up to the first day of class. Believe me, we have a lot of stuff that we could be doing in Canada. And it's not about the border and the U.S. stopping them. Trump's not worried about that. He knows he can do that. What he's worried about is us letting him in our country in the first place. That's what he's trying to stop. And for us to say, oh, well, it's up to them. Well, yeah, okay, they're going to stop them and they're going to stay in Canada. So now you're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So, no, it's not what Trump's talking about. Anyway, okay, I'm going to go over to my third sponsor. And then we're going to talk a little bit about DOGE. And what they're doing to the USAID, because this is beautiful stuff, man. I'm sitting there on TV laughing my head off. Okay, so our third sponsor is Hamel Machine Company. And, I had Bob Benner in here a week ago and talking about the Hamel Machine Company. And they've been here since 1948 in Niagara Falls, doing all kinds of jobs, big, small, for people like you and me. They deal with the public all the time, helping them fix their broken parts and re-engineering parts, machining parts. But man, oh man, they also do large industrial jobs that you wouldn't believe. They're innovators. They create, they make, they invent new products that go out there and help the world harvest agricultural products and anything else. Anybody that needs a part or some solution to a problem, they go to Hamel Machine Shop, a little gem in our community here that nobody even knows about. And it's great for industry here, a staple for industry in this region, but not only that, around the world. And the good thing is that guys like you and me who need something fixed, we can go there and take it in the shop. If it's broken, they'll weld it. Guys that own restaurants that have parts break all the time and they need parts, they can't get them, they got to wait 10 weeks because they're coming from somewhere, they can go and make you one. And you're back in business right away. Unbelievable what they do at Hamel Machine Company. You got to go there. You need gates for your backyard. They'll design them. They'll build them. And if you're really nice, they probably will help you install them. If I know Bob Benner, he's a great guy. Hamel Machine Shop, hamelmachine.ca. Check them out. A gem in Niagara Falls, serving the community since 1948. Support our sponsors because they support the show. So I want to get to this USAID. Elon Musk has gone in and cleaned house. And Chris, I got to talk about some of the stuff that they were spending money on, and Elon Musk fired them all, basically. I think there's 10,000 working there. There's like 300 now.
Yeah.
He's cleaned house. Here's what they're spending money on. You just comment on this kind of crap. That, we see this even in Niagara Falls with $25,000 concrete ping pong tables and $40,000 pollinating meadows and $60,000 water fill stations and spritzing stations. We're in the same jam, and we need DOGE. But here's what they're spending money on. Here's what they're spending money on right here: $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see the Sesame Street.
Sesame
But anyway,
Street characters got machine guns, and it's freaking so. How could you spend $20 million on this?
I don't know. I mean, did it really go to Sesame Street, or did it just go to pay some people off down in Iraq?
We don't know.
Give somebody a job.
This is what Elon Musk is going to find out. Hey, $8 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists how to avoid binary gendered language.
Yeah. Where is that? Where do they teach
Sri Lanka.
Oh, Sri Lanka.
$8 million.
Oh, yeah.
$25 million to the Watt, which is the Watt is a finance thing, right?
Yeah.
Are they like a broker or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, to promote green transportation in the country of Georgia in Russia.
Oh, okay.
$2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala.
Yeah.
$10 million worth of USAID funded meals that went to Al Qaeda linked terror groups.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
$5.5 million for LGBT activism in Uganda.
Right. I'm sure there's a large community there. So somebody's, all these are somebody's kids who are employed in the agency in the country, right? Or nephews or whatever.
And you wonder why Elon Musk is tearing this apart?
You do know that USAID gave some money to Burisma, right?
No, I never heard about that.
Oh, yeah, they did. It's part of that. Yeah, they gave millions to
Ukraine.
Burisma. Yeah, where Joe Biden's Hunter was.
Hunter was working for.
So Joe Biden paid for Hunter's salary, okay, and paid for him to make some art.
Here's the killer, Chris. It adds up the money they blew on this kind of crap. Whether sex changes in the tsetse fly for $50 billion a year. $50 billion a year they spend on this garbage.
Oh, okay. Well,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
not anymore.
So the tsetse fly is. I'll tell you this though. It's responsible for what they call the sleeping sickness. In Africa, right?
Oh, maybe that's what Joe Biden
15
got.
Million, possibly got bit. 15 million people a year die in Africa from that sleeping sickness. But anyways, that tsetse fly thing, that may be, I don't know if it's 50 billion. I'm sure that there's I don't think it's that much that they need in order to do this kind of work. But I'm sure that there's people getting paid out of that particular agency. But so the shocker today, I was listening to Tucker Carlson this morning. He had an individual called Mike Benz on his show, who's intimately knowledgeable about the inner workings of the American government, and they found today that USAID was paying off Politico and to the tune of $8 million. Other news stations in the U.S., smaller left-wing writing news articles and stuff like this about pro Democrat. It's all Democrat. It had nothing to do with right wing. It was all Democrat stuff. And actually, the Canadian government. So it's in the Politico papers. Global Affairs Canada has been donating to Politico as well. Your tax dollars, okay, to a news organization. It was a lot. What USAID was doing was the same thing Trudeau was doing by giving all the news agencies $600 million. Same type of deal. And then further to that, they found $27 million today given to George Soros. Okay, so they handed over $27 million to George Soros's charitable organizations that were donating money to candidates for DA and all of these cities and counties across the U.S. so that they could let criminals out into the streets. Okay, to get them elected, so they could let criminals out onto the streets. That's a big one there. 27 million. It's like a scandal. This is the worst. It's got all the rats scurrying because all of their nieces and nephews and cousins and things were employed. Liz Cheney was employed by USAID. All these other So they've shined the light in a dark space, in the crawl space of the U.S.
The swamp,
a swamp basically, and all the rats are scurrying now. And all you see on CNN and MSNBC and all these, their heads are exploding over the couple of or three programs that USA did that were noble, right? But they are ignoring this swamp of water, of muddy water, that it just swallows American taxpayer dollars.
Yep. And already 3 weeks in, and this is all happening. Trump has got it going. He's not stopping. Pete Hegseth has dumped all the DEI out of the military. That doesn't exist anymore. It's going to be a meritocracy. You're promoted and you're hired on merit. The best. We want the best. We don't want the blackest or the gayest or anything else. We want the best, no matter what they are. And this is a paradigm shift. And you're witnessing history, everybody. Watch what's going to happen. This is just 3 weeks in. Yeah. This is a shift, and we're going back to the way it should be run, common sense, and the way it should be run.
I hope so. I hope it stays. I hope it sticks around.
I hope Canadians catch it.
Well, that's what I want. I want that fever to catch in Canada, because if that fever catches in Canada, even you start at the federal level. Let's start at the federal level. We need an election now.
We do.
Okay? That's part of it. I was a little bit disappointed in Doug when he was taking the retaliation stance. I get why he did it, but I think that he should have been out there also at the same time while he was doing that the retaliation. We're going Canada, this, that. I think he should have been calling at the same time for Trudeau to recall Parliament and call an election now, because Doug's seeking his mandate, but we want the feds to seek theirs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We want them to seek it now. You know, I don't want to give Jagmeet a chance to say, "Oh no, let's just wait. Let's just wait." Did you know that that if they choose, they can put out that election? Okay, they've already moved it back 1 week in October. If they so choose, if they don't get a vote of non-confidence before then, they can delay that with another act of Parliament for another year. They can go to 5 years.
On what grounds?
They don't have to have grants. All they have to do is pass the maximum, according to the way things are set up, is 5 years. It's not 4.
I thought it was 4. Somebody said that, and I said, I don't think so.
No, it's 5, but they need. So we have an election every 4 years. But if they really want to push it back, they can do it. They can do it up to 5 years. At 5 years, they have to have an election, no matter what.
Okay, somebody was saying something like that, and I wasn't sure about it. I said, I don't think so. But I stand corrected then. They can go 5 years. So whoever said that to me, I stand corrected. You were right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
It is. It is scary.
It's scary.
Actually, because you know how much damage can be done in that extra
he said
year.
he's gonna do as much damage as he can before he gets thrown.
Well, he's already doing it. He's already doing it.
Exactly.
You know, right now he's got unfettered. Like, there's nothing stopping him right now. He's not in Parliament. He doesn't have to debate anything. It's prorogue. He can do whatever he wants through orders in council and whatever. You know. So, and if Jagmeet goes along after they come back after this leadership race, if Jagmeet goes along, we're all in big trouble.
Yeah, right on.
Big trouble.
On. And on that note, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
We've run over our hour, but I could sit here for another hour talking about this stuff easily. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. It's finally Friday. The weekend starts tomorrow. Be back on Monday with Manic Monday, and Tuesday I have Lori Lococo in the studio, and she's going to answer all your questions. So if you have any questions for Lori, get them to me, including you, Chris. Do me at Paul Lemire at cogeco.ca, or leave them on my Facebook page, Paul K. Lemire. You'll see it there. You can leave it under the messages, or on the YouTube video when it comes out. You can leave questions on there, or whatever you want to do. Get them to me. Get them to me. No matter how you get them to me, I don't care. I will pose them to Lori, no matter how crazy they are. We're going to ask her whatever in the hour that she's going to be in here on February 11th. That's next Tuesday. See you Monday at noon. Your City, Your Voice. Paul K. Lemire. I'm here with Chris Regas today. And thank you for coming in, Chris. I appreciate it.
No problem. My pleasure.
Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. The studios of 4680Q Radio. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you Monday with Manic Monday. Ciao, ciao. For now. Bless you all.